Good evening, everyone. Or good morning, whatever time you're watching this. Anyway, I just wanted to give a testimony and just kind of share what God shared with me uh, with what I went through over the weekend. Um, I had a tooth, really bad tooth. It got infected and started hurting really bad. Ate ice for 36 hours straight. Couldn't get no relief, and ended up going to the hospital a few days later, and over the weekend on I believe it was Saturday, and went in there, went in the emergency room, and I still eating ice. And they told me, they said, you got to put that ice down. I can't get a temperature. They couldn't get a temperature inside my mouth to figure out what my temp was. I said, I can't put down this ice. I said, it's the only thing that eases the pain. Well, unfortunately, I had to put the ice down, and I went in extreme pain. I was hurting really, really bad. And went back out in the waiting room to let my mouth get back to the normal temperature. And as I was in there, I was in just in really bad pain, and all at one time the pain stopped. And I looked at my wife; she was beside me, and there was other people in there too. And I said, Dakota, I said, this pain stopped, and out of nowhere, I mean, it's completely stopped. I said, what do I do? What? It don't make no sense. It's been hurting, for the last 4 or 5 days, non-stop, just stop. And then she told me, she said, well, they just got done praying for you at church. I said, huh? I said, well, I received a healing. I received this healing. And I went to the ER nurse that was in there, and I said, I'm going home. I said, God healed me. And I said, I'm taking this healing, and I said, I'm going to walk it out in faith. I said, I'm believing God. And I did that, and I give God the praise and glory for that, giving me the courage to do that. And so we left, and the pain would come and go. It would still come and go, but it wasn't near as bad as what it was. And Sunday I went to church, and God helped me get through that. And every time the pain would come up, I'd just rebuke it and it'd go away. Well, Monday morning, I came to work, that pain got extremely bad again. And I called a dentist's office, and they had me come in, and they extracted that tooth. And that was an experience by itself. I've never had a tooth extracted before, so I thank Jesus for getting me through that experience. I know that might not be something difficult for a lot of people, but to me, that was dentists are one of the hardest doctors for me to go to, especially working on teeth. But I got through it. God got me through that. And I thank the Lord for that. I was pain free. Right after they got the tooth out, absolutely no pain. It's been the last several days. I have no pain, no infection. I feel great. Well, yesterday morning, okay, this is after the tooth had been extracted. It's been at 24 hours after. The Lord spoke to me, and I was in the car on my way to work that morning around 3 a.m. And He said, the reason you had to feel the pain of that tooth, He told me this. He said, and I'm going to try and make it as brief as I can, but He told me this. He said, dead things that are in your life have to leave your life. Dead things that are attached to your body causes pain, causes you to be distracted, makes you think unclearly. It leads you in the wrong direction. You can't think clearly because of dead things that are in your life. And he said these dead things have to be extracted. They have to be removed. And he said once they are removed, he said, my blood shall cover, and you'll live freely in me, and in the Lord. And he was telling me this stuff, and he told me this. He said the little sins have to be removed. He said, for it's the little sins that's destroying the body. And I was like, all right, I hear you, Lord. And you know, it's not that any of us are bad or any of us are perfect. None are righteous, no, not one. But I think what the Lord was getting to me at is, you know, that tooth was so small, but it was controlling every emotion in me because of the pain. And once that tooth was removed, that dead tooth was removed, I could think clearly. My mind was focused on the Lord. I was no longer in pain. And we have to get those dead things removed out of our life so we can have a clear focus on the Lord. So we're not distracted by the dead things that are in our life. We got to be alive. And we got to remove these dead things that are in us. That way we can be free for the Lord. That way we can be used by the Lord and not distracted by the things that aren't of God in our life. So this is just God revealing some things to me about the tooth. That tooth was dead, and it was causing me severe pain. It was in my mouth, and it's such a small thing, but causing such great pain, such great distraction. And we got to remove the dead things in our lives so we're not distracted. I just wanted to share that today. And I hope you all have a great day. God bless you all. And go tell somebody about Jesus. Love you all. God bless.